Welcome to The Explainer. If you're a school principal or a teacher here in Ireland, I'm guessing the 2026 primary curriculum rollout has been taking up a fair chunk of your mental bandwidth lately. It's a massive change, for sure. But today, we're going to completely reframe it. This isn't just another administrative burden or a tick box exercise. Actually, it's one of the most exciting opportunities you're ever going to have to genuinely shape your school's educational journey. We're going to unpack the official guidance, break down the exact sections you actually need to know, and show you precisely how to translate all this dense policy into a vibrant, workable whole school plan. Let's get straight into it. I want to start our explainer with a really profound quote right from the guidance itself. Curriculum is not a product to be delivered. It is a process, one that reflects our values, invites professional judgment, and must be enacted in context. That quote right there, it perfectly captures the whole before and after shift of this 2026 rollout. For the longest time, the curriculum felt like a rigid package that you just opened up and handed straight to the students. But now, it's a flexible, living process. It literally requires your professional judgment, and it has to be enacted in your specific school context. It's a massive philosophical shift from simple delivery to actual enactment.
So, the crucial point is teacher agency. The guidance explicitly defines this as your capacity to make choices and decisions about what to teach, when to teach it, and how to sequence and pace learning. Think about that for a second. School leaders and teachers are no longer just passive conduits passing along a syllabus. You're positioned as active interpreters. You are being given the trust and the scope to shape the entire learner experience based on the reality of the children sitting right in front of you. To help us navigate all this, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a new era of agency, move through the 3 steps, reflect, select, and enact, and wrap up with the whole school plan. Section 1. The new era of agency, shifting from delivery to process.
To exercise all this new agency effectively, the framework provides a cyclical 3-step process: reflect, select, and enact. To make this really intuitive as we go through our explainer today, we're going to use a specific color scheme to separate these phases mentally. We've got sky blue for reflect, coral for select, and charcoal for enact. You can kind of think of this cycle as the engine that's going to drive your school's curriculum planning for years to come.
Step 1. Reflect, understanding your unique context.
So we're in our sky blue reflect phase. Curriculum enactment absolutely cannot happen in a vacuum, right? It has to begin with the realities of your own school community. Reflecting means formally identifying the key contextual factors that shape your school. What are your strengths? What are the specific, maybe highly diverse needs of your children? How does your geographical location, say, whether you're a tiny rural 2-teacher school or a massive urban primary, how does that impact how you deliver education? Before making any grand plans, this is where principals' deep knowledge of their own patch becomes the actual foundation of the whole school plan.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the guidance actually asks us to structure that reflection. It gives us a lens, the 8 principles of learning, teaching, and assessment. Think about areas like inclusive education, learning environments, or partnerships. As a school leader, you need to sit down and ask your team which of these 8 principles are currently absolutely thriving in our classrooms. Where are we doing brilliantly? And honestly, which principles do we need to give far greater attention to moving forward? Alongside those principles, we also have to reflect on our learners through the lens of the 7 key competencies. These are those essential skills and values that enable children to navigate the modern world. Things like being well, or being an active learner, or being a digital learner. Because these competencies are meant to be embedded across all curriculum areas, the vital question during your reflect phase is this: what aspects of our current practice are successfully promoting these competencies, and what needs strengthening before we roll out the new specifications? Step 2. Select, charting your course. Welcome to the coral phase, select. Once you have a deep understanding of where your school currently stands, that reflection has to turn into strategy. The new curriculum is presented across 5 broad areas, but because schools have agency, you actually have discretion in deciding the specific order of enactment across these 5 areas. This means leadership teams must collaborate. You've got to look at the professional support services available, consider your staff's current workload, because we all know how heavy that is, and deliberately select which curriculum area to enact first. It's all about establishing a sustainable pace so your teachers aren't overwhelmed. However, there is one massive compliance caveat you absolutely must be aware of: the 3-year rule.
While you do have agency and discretion in sequencing your curriculum rollout, the department states that the well-being specification must categorically begin within the first 3 years. It just has to be among the first 3 curriculum areas you select, no exceptions. For principals mapping out their 3 to 5 year strategic plans, this is a total non-negotiable anchor point to build around.
Which brings us to step 3, enact, bringing the curriculum to life.
We've arrived at the charcoal enact phase. You've reflected on your context, you've selected your timeline, and now those high-level decisions finally trickle down to guide daily classroom preparation. This stage is highly practical. It involves making concrete decisions about 2 main things: pedagogical approaches and pacing. How are you sequencing the learning from stage 1 all the way up to stage 4? What specific assessment approaches are you utilizing across the board? The whole school decisions made right here will directly inform what a teacher writes in their monthly records, their Contes Musula, and exactly how they prepare for a standard Tuesday morning lesson.
But, enactment is not just about doing it. It's about checking if it's actually working. The guidance is clear that enactment is an iterative process, deeply tied to school self-evaluation, or SSE. Monitoring means setting timed targets in your action plans. You need to use relevant data, look at student work samples, run surveys, gather real feedback from teachers, kids, and parents, and make this a regular feature of your staff meetings. If a pedagogical approach just isn't working, you use this SSE evidence to make quick adjustments. It's all about continuous improvement. Let's move to and see how this builds into building the whole school plan, your blueprint for success. All of this reflecting, selecting, and enacting needs to be recorded. Obviously, it needs to be collective, stable, and reviewable. And the guidance kindly suggests a highly practical 5-section layout for this document, giving you a really tangible blueprint. Section 1 covers your school context, who you are. Section 2 is curriculum enactment, your strategic plan. Section 3 contains the actual curriculum plans, the scope and pedagogies. Section 4 records your school's self-evaluation and action planning. And finally, Section 5 is for your appendices. This 5-step structure gives you an incredibly clear, compliant, and logical way to format your school's evolving journey. And that brings us to our final thought today. Is your whole school plan a static document gathering dust on a shelf, or is it a living blueprint constantly evolving to reflect the changing realities of your classrooms? The 2026 primary curriculum puts the power firmly back into the hands of educators. It demands your professional agency. By adopting this reflect, select, and enact framework, you ensure that your curriculum is never just a product you deliver, but a dynamic, exciting process that truly serves the children in your care. Thank you so much for joining us on The Explainer, and the very best of luck as you begin charting your whole school planning journey.